Our minds are incredibly powerful. And when we recognize that, we can direct our minds towards success. By believing in ourselves, we can set the stage for action. If we think, if we think we can achieve something, we will. We can certainly achieve that something. If we doubt ourselves, we hold back from trying. It is belief that launches us forward, and it all starts in the mind. What we think is the foundation of what happens to us. If we want to change our lives, we must fight, expand, and stretch our minds. The thoughts we plant deep in our subconscious, nurtured by repetition and emotion, will one day become reality. This is why the thoughts we cultivate are so important. When we plant constructive, positive ideas, positive outcomes naturally follow us. But if we plant seeds of failure, failure will be the inevitable result. The power of thought is immense. It's subtle but far-reaching, influencing everything even from a distance. Our minds are interconnected like spiders in a web, shaping the world around us through the silent force of thought. In fact, reality itself is a reflection of the thoughts we habitually entertain. When we start to think and speak about what we truly want, our minds shift, pulling us in that direction. Sometimes that's all it takes, a small shift in perspective or vocabulary to align us with our goals. To live a new way, we first need to think in a new way. Success, wealth, and abundance are all state of mind. We don't need material wealth to feel rich. We can start by thinking rich thoughts and inviting that mindset into our lives. Our environment, whatever it may be, it is a direct result of our thoughts. We rise or fall, not by chance. We rise or fall, it's not by chance, but by the strength of our aspirations and the wisdom we cultivate in our minds. The stresses we face in life are not caused by the situations themselves, but by how we choose to think about them. Peace is a choice we can make regardless of what others do or what others think. And whatever we focus on in our minds consistently becomes our experience. The circumstances we live in today are the product of our past thoughts. And where we go tomorrow will be shaped by the thoughts we hold on to now. Our perceptions define the world around us. Nothing is inherently good or bad. It is our thinking that gives it meaning. And we possess powers far beyond what we usually imagine. We can do things we never thought possible, and the only limitations we face are the ones we impose on ourselves through our minds. Each of us holds within us the potential for greatness, but it starts with understanding the power of thought. Our minds shape our reality. If we want to change our future, we must first change our thinking. There are no limits. There are no limits to what we can achieve when we free our minds from doubt and embrace the possibilities. Let us remember that we are where our thoughts have brought us today, and we will go wherever our thoughts take us tomorrow. With the right mindset, there is nothing we cannot accomplish. We often find ourselves caught up in thoughts about the past or dreams of the future, forgetting that the present moment is where our true power lies. When we pour our heart and soul into our work, it may feel overwhelming, yet it is through this dedication that we find fulfillment. In moments of stillness, when we quiet our racing minds, the vastness of the universe reveals itself. A peaceful mind becomes a source of immense strength. Our thoughts, our thoughts shape our lives. Our thoughts shape our negative mindset. It will never lead to a positive outcome. Keeping our mind sane and open is the key to lifelong growth, regardless of our age. Life presents us with challenges, but by not complicating our thoughts and focusing on positivity, we can rise above them and live with purpose. Sometimes it's important to let our minds wander and see where it takes us. For the mind is not meant to be restricted, but it is meant to be ignited with passion and creativity. Obstacles and criticism may arise, but these only push us to grow stronger, transforming negativity into motivation. We must always keep our minds focused on our goals. For whatever we conceive and believe, we have the power to achieve. In moments of solitude, our minds gain resilience. This time of reflection strengthens us, teaching us to rely on ourselves. Even when things seem lost, we must remember that we have the strength within to persevere. Success is not determined by where we start, but by the faith and determination we put into every step of the journey. Being a champion is not just about winning. It's about showing up. It's about trying again and striving to be better. It's a mindset that goes beyond competition. It's a mindset that goes beyond competition. It's about self-improvement and dedication. To reach success, we must focus our conscious minds on our desires, not on our fears. And when weariness sets in, it's important to rest, renew, and come back even stronger. Life often swings between sense and nonsense, between clarity and confusion. But it's through these contrasts that we found our way. We need a strong mind to overcome setbacks and come back with even more determination. It's not enough to simply have a good mind. We must use it wisely, expressing ourselves even in the face of fear. Courage comes from knowing what needs to be done and having the strength to do it. Courage comes from knowing what needs to be done and having the strength to do it. Time doesn't heal everything, but our minds help us cope with the wounds of life. As we move forward, it's our resolve to succeed that carries us through. When challenges arise, we must stay strong, turning criticism into motivation and believing in our abilities. In the end, the power to control our thoughts and our lives lies within us. As we journey through life, we must strive to keep our minds open, free from limitations. Education too. Education is not about filling the mind, but about opening it to new possibilities. By thinking for ourselves, we gain true understanding and wisdom. Our minds are capable of incredible feats when we combine knowledge, imagination, and determination. With courage and gratitude, we can face anything that life brings our way. The battles we face are often within our own minds, but by cultivating strength and resilience, we can overcome them. A calm mind brings inner peace, which is essential for our well-being. Our attitudes, not our circumstances. Our attitudes, not our circumstances, they define our lives. Our attitudes define our lives. The power we hold over our minds, the ability to remain focused on what truly matters. It is the foundation of success and it is the foundation of happiness. When we nurture our minds with curiosity, gratitude, and courage, we find the strength to live life to its fullest potential. Let us continue to believe in ourselves, put our minds to work, and achieve greatness. We have all heard that laughter is the best medicine, but have we ever thought about how humor can actually help us understand and control our minds better? Imagine the brain as this complicated machine, so many wires, circuits, and buttons. Sometimes it feels like it's running on autopilot, right? But what if I told you that humor can be the manual we need to rewrite it? To break out of those mental patterns that hold us back. Humor forces us to see things from a different perspective. When we laugh at something, it's actually because it surprises or turns our expectations upside down. It's like tricking. It's like tricking the brain into stepping outside its routine. You know how we can get caught up in serious, heavy thoughts, work stress, deadlines, life pressures, and we spiral down this rabbit hole of worry. Humor acts like a wrench thrown into those gates, forcing us to pause and say, wait a minute, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe I can see this differently. Ever notice how when you are laughing, even at yourself, the problems that felt so big starts to shrink? That's because humor helps us detach. It's like reverse engineering the mind. Instead of being stuck in problem solving mode, humor says, let's step back, lighten up, and maybe even poke fun at our worries. And when we do that, we give ourselves space to see solutions that we might have missed when we were too caught up. Humor also has this amazing way of reminding us that we are human. We make mistakes, we have awkward moments, and we don't always have it all together. And guess what? That's okay. Laughing at those things help us stop taking ourselves so seriously. When we laugh at our mistakes, we are training our minds to accept failure as part of growth. It's like saying to ourselves, hey, it didn't go as planned, but I will bounce back. And we bounce back faster when we are not dragging around guilt or frustration. Let's talk about fear for a second. Fear is one of those emotions that can completely take over the mind. But when we laugh at what scares us, we take away its power. Think of the last time you saw a funny video that made light of something you were nervous about. Suddenly, it didn't seem so terrifying, did it? Humor turns fear on its head. It's like giving your mind a pass to chill out, letting it know that maybe things aren't as scary as they seem. And then there is connection. Ever notice how laughter is contagious? It's like a shortcut to bonding with others. When we share a joke or a funny moment, we are not just enjoying the humor, we are building bridges with people. In those moments, our minds open up. We are more relaxed, more open to new ideas, and more willing to listen. It's hard to be defensive when you are laughing together, right? Humor breaks down those walls. whether they are walls we have built around ourselves or ones we have put out between us and others. Now, does this mean we can laugh our way out of every problem? Of course not. But humor is a tool we can use to shift how we approach challenges. It helps us reverse engineer the mind by breaking down the seriousness, letting in creativity, and reminding us that flexibility is the key. A flexible mind is one that can adapt, find new ways of thinking, and ultimately find solutions that a rigid, overly serious mind would overlook. So, the next time life throws a curveball at us, instead of getting stuck in overthinking or stress, let's take a step back and find the humor in it. Laugh at the absurdity, laugh at the unpredictability, and laugh at ourselves if we need to. In doing so, we are not ignoring the challenges, we are simply rewiring our minds to see them in a new light and new perspective. The one that full of possibilities and not just problems. Because at the end of the day, a mind that can laugh is a mind that can learn, adapt, and overcome. So let's use humor as our tool to reverse engineer the way we think and watch how it transforms not just our mindset but the way we approach life. The mind is a funny thing. The mind is a funny thing. We think we are in control. We think that we are in control, but sometimes it feels like our brain has a mind of its own. We could be sitting quietly, ready to focus, and suddenly, boom, we are thinking about what we had for breakfast or why that one embarrassing thing we did 5 years ago popped into our heads. Why does our brain do that? It's almost like it enjoys messing with us. Take this for example. Ever walk into a room and completely forget why you are there? You had a clear plan just seconds ago, but the moment you cross the threshold, your brain hits reset. Suddenly, you are standing there, lost like, wait, what was I doing? You start retracing your steps like that will help, but no, that mind just decides to check out for a minute. Like it's on vacation. It's almost funny how that happens, but it shows us how easily our minds can wander. Then let's talk about overthinking. We all do it. We all do overthink. A simple situation can turn into a full-blown saga in our heads. Maybe we send a text and the person takes a little longer than usual to reply. Suddenly, our mind goes into overdrive. Did I say something wrong? Are they mad at me? Maybe they didn't like my last message. And there we are, spiraling into a drama that doesn't even exist. So this is what we think when we send a message and we don't get reply within the time we think. Meanwhile, they were probably just taking a nap or charging their phone. It's crazy how our minds can take the smallest thing and blow it up into something much bigger than it really is. Let's talk about dreams for a second. Dreams are another example of how strange the mind can be. One night, you are flying through the clouds, having a great time. The next day or the next night, you are late for an exam you haven't studied for. Or worse, you show up to work without pants. What's that about? Our minds take random pieces of our day, our thoughts and our fears, then mash them together like some sort of abstract or some sort of project. It's a funny how the brain uses dreams to process emotions or thoughts we didn't even realize we had. And it doesn't always make sense. But maybe that's the beauty of it. And have you ever noticed how we often worry about things that never actually happen. Our minds love to play the what if game. We stress about things in the future, imagining the worst possible outcomes. Yet, how often does that worst case scenario really come true? It's like the mind like to rehearse problems that don't even exist. Maybe it's trying to prepare us, but more often than not, it just causes unnecessary anxiety. The mind also loves to mess with our memories. Have you ever told a story you were absolutely sure happened a certain way, only for someone else who was there to tell you it went down completely differently? It's like, what? I swear I remember it like this. But our memories are tricky. The mind fills in gaps, changes details, and convinces us of things that might not have happened the way we think they did. It's not that we are lying, but our brains like to create narratives, and sometimes they are more fiction than fact. Funny. And then there is how our minds react to fear. Ever been completely fine and then you hear a noise in the dark? Suddenly, your mind goes into hyperdrive, imagining all possible traits. Every creak becomes a potential danger. Every sound becomes a potential danger. In reality, it's probably just the wind or the house setting, but your brain is not having it. It's ready to go into survival mode. It's funny how our minds can create these wild scenarios when most of the time nothing is really happening. Despite all its quirks, the mind is incredibly powerful. It has this amazing ability to turn thoughts into action, ideas into reality, and dreams into plans. But as we have seen, it can also lead us on wild goose chases, make us laugh at how forgetful or irrational we can be, and keep us at night overthinking things that don't matter. It's funny, but it's also what makes us human. So maybe the lesson is this. Instead of trying to fight the strange and unpredictable nature of our minds, let's embrace it. Let's accept our minds and mindsets. Let's laugh at the times we overthink. Let's forget or dream of the weirdest scenarios. Because in the end, the mind is a funny thing, but it also the most powerful tool we have. And if we can find humor in its quirks, we can learn to navigate life with a little more ease, patience, and lot more laughter. Thank you. Thank you.